Motormouth Jenkins here, welcoming you to our brand new YouTube channel. Hope that you'll come back and see every segment each and every week, and I will share preventative maintenance tips and regularly scheduled maintenance tips for your car. So whether you know a little bit about your car or absolutely nothing, this is the channel just for you, where I share over 35 years of experience as a qualified and licensed service technician with truck and coach, light truck and passenger vehicles. Come back and visit us and tell your friends, and we'll see you each and every week right here in the Car Connection Workshop on YouTube. Hey friends, welcome to the Car Connection Workshop. Your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins. We're at the workbench today, so you're going to learn a couple of things. I'm going to teach you about ignition coils, how you test them, what they are, and they're different. There are different coils. Yeah, so you're going to learn that today, so stick around and take some notes. Get your crayons, get your brown paper bag, take some notes down, and we're just going to walk through it. It can quite often be made complicated, but it's not. So that's what I'm just going to show you. I've got a couple of samples here that I pulled out of my tune-up cabinet, and these are, I only keep in there what works. So if you needed to pull a coil out quickly and test something, you can do that. So if you've done your testing, you got a vehicle that sometimes hit and miss with spark, like my old John Deere tractor, Walter there, gave me problems for 25 years, and we just recently solved that. Yeah. That's a whole new story. But anyways, Walter's going to go to another caregiver very soon. I don't need him. I have Henry. So Henry's his brother. All right, so let's get into this right away. So I'll explain you, Lucy, what we have here, okay? We have ignition coil from said 1979 to about 1982 John Deere tractor with points ignition. So this is points ignition. This is an ignition coil from like a late 70s Toyota, and has an igniter on it. And this is HEI ignition with an igniter. So this is point system. This is HEI ignition. This is an expensive little jewel, I'll tell you. Back in the day, just to get this igniter, because that burned out, would be the thing that burnt out. You were talking like $200-300. And in fact, I have this tagged 1980 Toyota Supra 2.8 liter ignition coil. So that means it's good. That's why I've tagged it. Way back when I had an 82 Supra, it was a beauty. Never should have sold it. So we're going to test the coil. So this coil is bad. We know this now. And that was the problem. Walter always gave me problems starting, and the gentleman I bought it off of said he'd had it in the shop. They changed the carburetor. They did everything to that John Deere tractor, but it always gave me problems starting. And you know, when you're in a hurry to cut the grass, I don't know why I never just took the time to test it. I would have saved myself a ton of aggravation, and we would have had him fixed. But anyways, he starts before you even put the key in it now with a new coil. So this is his old coil. So here's how you test it, fellas, friends. And you might want to Skippy get in here just to show them the meter. I'll prop it up a little bit. That might help the situation here. I got lots of little ditties going on at this table. You might think it's junk. No, this is all carburetor stuff. I have 6 carburetors to rebuild. So when that moment comes, I'll just be building carburetors. I got 1 in the bucket. I've got 2 over there that have to be built. So anyways, I digress. We're going to go from the positive side of the coil to the center tower, which is where the spark comes out. So I've got my meters set for ohms, and you can pick up, this is an expensive meter. You don't need a meter this expensive. You can grab a multimeter now for less than $50. I think you can get them even like $25 on the Jungle website, or go to the Prince of the Palace parts store. which I was at earlier this week. So I'm just going to use my alligator clamp. You know what? I'll take it off because you may not have these, but if you get these and you get the wands that have the threads on, these are really handy because you can just clamp, and you'll see in a minute. Okay, so we're going to go from the positive side of the coil to the center electrode, which is your spark, and simply put, we want to see 5 ohms or less. And we have almost 13. You see a problem there? We want 5 ohms or less. We got 13. Okay, now we're going to go to the negative side of the coil, to the center electrode. Thank you. That's the second time I punctured my baby finger in 2 days. And we want to see 10 to 15,000 ohms on this side. So we're 1294, we're 13. So we're 13,000 ohms, and that's okay, but we're failing on the positive side. We should be no more than 5. You can go 6. Some guys will say 6. Some guys will say 5. You know what? 0 to 6 is what we want to see. And we've got 13. So there's a coil breakdown problem inside. So that coil is no good. See how fast that took to test that and determine is the coil good, bad, or ugly? Is that where I've got a sparking issue? Yes. Let's jump over to the high energy ignition with a coil, external coil, and an igniter. So I'm not testing the igniter, it's not plugged in. I've isolated the coil so that we can test the coil. Now this is where my little clampy thing comes in handy because I can thread that on and I can work hands-free on the negative side. So we're going to clamp to the center electrode. That's where the spark comes out. So this is the coil wire. This is a coil wire for Mr. Green Jeans. Believe it or not, I put a wire set on Mr. Green Jeans, 327, still point system. I'm going to change it over to high energy ignition. I didn't get a coil wire. And you can't buy a coil wire separately anymore. Yeah, so I had to go rooting, and I found one. So anyways, we're going positive side of the coil again, like we did with the defective coil. We're looking for the same kind of numbers, but they're going to be different. They're going to be in the thousands. So you want to see about 15 to 20,000 or 20 ohms. So we got 21.6, so call it 21 and a half. That's good for the high energy ignition. On the opposite side, we want to see about the same. There we are. So we got 21.5. So again, watch the meter. 21.6 on the positive side. 21.7-ish on the negative side. What does that tell me about this high energy ignition coil? We're good. So I can look you in the eye and say, this coil is good to go into service. Okay, so now I thought what I'd show you is jump over to General Motors, Chevy, high energy ignition, and I've got 2 coils here. And I grabbed them both because this one was on my bench for a while, and I pulled it out, a distributor apart, and you can see the rust in there. This is the lid that goes over the coil, so the coil sits inside this way, and this goes towards the distributor cap, so that sits in there like that. So, and there's some rust in there too, and I thought I'd pull this out of the cabinet. I didn't take time to test it, so after I test it here, I'll tag and bag it and put it back in the cabinet. This one here needs to find, I'm not even sure how you safely environmentally deal with this coil. Does it go in scrap? Does it have to go to hazmat? Because it has oil in it. So there's a coil of wire in here in an oil bath. So I don't know, I got to ask on that. I'm not just going to throw it in the scrap pile because I'm not sure if that's how you do it. Hey, I pulled this rag out of my rag bag today. Feng Shui. Hey, it's going to be a great day because yesterday it sucked around here with a K. Everything we touched yesterday morning there was something wrong with it. And just to put the cherry on the top, end of the day, I get a call. I got no brakes. The pedal just went to the floor, and I was pulling into a parking spot. Well, good news for that. I said, well, pick me up later. We'll go get it. I get there. It had zero brakes completely. I drove it home using the handbrake. The secret on that is to keep the button in and then give lots of distance and lots of stopping power. So it was a manual, so I could downshift and push the button in and just pull the handle up. But that's how we finished the day yesterday. So here's the thing. I tell you that because, everybody thinks in the workshop everything goes smooth and it's just like, cake and ice cream on your birthday. And no, things change all the time. All right, so we're going to do a high energy ignition coil now. And I'll just shut up and get to it. But I just like to share that with you. That's the stuff that goes on in the service bays. You get into stuff and you think it's just going to go peaches and cream, and it doesn't. Okay, on this one, this is our negative. This is our positive. This is our spark. Okay, so black is ground. Is there a cut there? You got to watch these wires on your HEI ignition systems, fellas, because they split here, right in that little pinch point. The cable splits, and they'll break off, or this ground will split. So you want to check that. So we got our positive, our negative, and our spark. Okay, so we're going to go from the positive. I'm just going to clamp it on here so I can work hands-free. So I'm going to play. This is basically, if we put this here like this, so you can see it, that's the negative terminal, that's the positive terminal, and that's where the spark comes out. So we have the exact same thing before us, except it's 3 wires instead of a tower in the center. So that's the way you got to go after it. So we go from the positive, and we should have between 5 and 6 ohms, and we're there. So now we're going to go from the negative. Remember, I got my terminal on there. Let's do this. Clamp it onto the negative so I don't confuse you. On the negative, now to the center electrode. And what's going, hang on, gonna give me a reading? No, it's gonna give me a reading over here. Maybe? Are we connected? Hello? Mother Harper? Saying we're out of range. Interesting. I just tested this. See what I mean? In the shop this week, it has been bananas. Let's just try this. Is it my little terminal thing? I don't know. Let's get on here and touch this one. There we go. It's that clamp. It wasn't making a connection. So let's get that in the ringlet and hold it there. Touch it to the positive. And we should see about 10 to 15,000 ohms. So we're in the range on there. Let's see if we got something in the center electrode. And the same is what we should see is 10 to 15,000. You might see 20,000 on some coils, but we're in the range. So again, we want to see 10 to 15,000 ohms. And we're about 13,000. And you'll say, well, the decimal's not in the right point. Well, I just multiply it in my head. That's what I do. So it's not 1.6 ohms, it's 14,000. That's the scale I'm reading in my head. So again, when we check from the positive to the center electrode, we want to see between 5 and 6 ohms, and we're at 5, which is spot on. So now we're going to check between the negative and the center electrode, see if we get a reading. And we do, and it should be 10 to 15,000 ohms, and we're bouncing between 13.9 and 14. So we're there. And again, we're going to go from the positive to the center electrode, and we want to see between, and no more than 6 ohms. I personally like to see 4 to 5, and we're kind of teetering here between 5 and 6. I'm getting a little, it bounced back and forth, so we're in the zone. All right, let's check the next one. So it'll be interesting to see if this one, which was sitting in my distributor that moisture got into the coil area. Those are for another job. This is for the FJ Cruiser. We're going to play with oxygen sensors. Yeah, those are adapters. Okay, so we're going to do the same test. So this is your ground. This is your positive side of the coil. And this is your spark. So we're going to go positive side to the center electrode, and we want to see no more than 6 ohms. And I like to see no less than 4 myself. So we're at 5. We're in the zone. That means we're in the specs, the manufacturer specs, and I'm almost getting 6. It's bouncing back and forth. So now we're going to go from the ground to the positive, and we should see, I like to see close to 20, but 10 to 15 is ideal. And this coil is supercharged. We're putting out over 20,000 ohms. So now we're going to go from the negative to the center electrode, which makes the spark. And get a good grip here. Get a grip! It's kind of all over the map here on this one. Let me see if I can get a better connection. The connection. And we are also under 6. So we're good. So K ohms is this test. It's giving me total ignition, which is, like I say, should be close to 20, but the specs usually 10 to 15,000 ohms. So we're 10 to 15,000 ohms, tells me the coil windings are healthy. So we go from the positive to the center electrode. We want to see no more than 6 ohms. And we're hovering between 4, 8, and 6. And same thing here, we want to see from the positive to the center electrode the same. 4 to 6 is good. We're bang on 5. So this coil is good as well. So that's a simple test. You see those specs, you're in. So just remember, from the positive, what's going on there? Yeah, my lead snapped. They just don't make things the way they used to. I put some glue on there, but it's, that quick glue, it really doesn't work. Just saying. So from the positive to the center electrode, you want to see around 10 to 15,000. No, I'm sorry. I'll back up the bus. My bad. We don't want to see any more than 6. So we're going positive to the center electrode, and we have almost 13. So that's a heads up. This coil has a problem between the positive and the spark. So spark is in the center. This is your battery connection to the ignition, and we don't want to see any more than 6. I see pretty much 13 there. So, and again, go over to the negative, to the center post, and we don't want to see any more, this is point system, any more than 15, and we have 13. So we're in there, 10 to 15,000 ohms. So you just move the decimal point down to the end, add a 0. So times it by 1,000. So we are in on the negative side, but we are out of spec on the positive side. And that's all you have to remember. It's not super difficult. Get yourself a meter that has ohms. This only goes so far on the ohm scale. It needs the smaller scale. I don't have it on here, so I just leave it on the ohms, and I know that I need to times it by 1,000 to bring the decimal point over where it should be, because I don't have a small scale. So if you're buying a meter that you can just, does milliamps and volts and ohms, make sure you buy one that has the small scale below. That's the symbol for ohms. And what I like about this meter is I can also do a continuity test. So if I want to check across a circuit, see if it's connected, and I've just put it on dwell with audible, so I'm checking. So listen, ready? And watch, the screen will go to 0. So if you can't hear the audible, you look at the screen, it goes to 0s. That means I'm making a connection. That's what I like about this meter, is I can quickly test a circuit from one end, and I've done it from one end, from under the hood to the back of the vehicle, and set my meter on the ground and do my test. And all I need, even though I may not be able to hear the audible, I see the screen go to 0s. It's telling me my wire from here to the back of the vehicle is good. I don't need to peel open the loom and cut tape off and break the wiring harness out. I can just pinpoint at the front of the vehicle what color wire it is, and from the wiring diagram where it comes out at the back of the vehicle, hook in my meter, and I can check that wire that quick with the continuity test. And that's what I really like about it. It's a good troubleshooter. All right, so that's ignition coils. I wanted to share that with you so you get a better understanding. We're dealing with coil over plug on vehicles, so there's still an ignition coil. Just means we've changed from canister coil to high energy ignition coil with an igniter to boost the energy for electronic ignition. So this is points system ignition. This is electronic ignition. And this is HEI, high energy ignition, which was around for a long time, and now we've gone away from this. Sorry, but I don't have a coil pack kicking around, but we have coil packs, and now we have spark plugs with coils on top of them. It's called coil over plug. Check out our video on the 2007 Toyota FJ Cruiser, where you'll see and learn all about how to change spark plugs on a coil over ignition system. So that's up on our website at Niall Motormouth Jenkins. That's our YouTube channel, YouTube channel. So like, share, follow, subscribe, and to not miss a single video, be sure to hit the notification bell so that you're notified when new videos go up on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, and we'll see you in the Car Connection Workshop for the next one. So put the coffee on. We're going to come to your house. Well, thank you for stopping by the Car Connection Workshop right here on YouTube. Don't forget to come back and join us for another segment. So like, share, tag, and follow, and ding that bell so that you don't miss a single edition of Car Connection. So till next time, keep it under 100 and put the coffee on, because we're coming to your house.